Hello! Today we are attempting to solve a big one. Today we're looking at the Hanayama Level 6 Enigma puzzle. Level 6 is as hard as it gets when it comes to the Hanayama puzzles. It was designed by American designer Eldon Vaughn. I do not recognize that name whatsoever, so this is probably the first one I've solved that is designed by him. Now when I say that the level 6 puzzles are the hardest, there is absolutely no question that that is true. Of the 5 level 6 puzzles that we've solved from Hanayama, the 3 of them are the top 3, are the hardest 3. We've got the Hourglass, the Vortex, and the Quartet. Off the top of my head, every single one of those took over an hour and a half, I think, to take it apart, and probably to put it back together as well, especially the Vortex. I think the Vortex was 3 hours to take it apart, and probably about 3 hours to put it back together as well. Now there's only one way of finding out if we can solve the Enigma puzzle, so let's get straight on with it. So here is the Enigma. Now first thing is it's massive. It literally barely fit in this box. I mean, that's the size of it. Now, obviously there's 3 pieces. This is what it's connected. This is what it looks like disassembled. That is our first aim, to disassemble it. And my first thoughts are that it's almost like a 3D maze, if you like. Now, I'm guessing there's gonna be points. So it says on the box, it says down here, this is without a doubt among the most difficult of all puzzles. Don't use too much force, the pieces should just slide apart. And the first thing we can see is that this piece is just joined in one part. So if we can get that bit out of the way, then this bit can just slide straight off. But these 2 pieces are connected twice. So you can see that there. So it goes through that loop there and around that loop there. However, what's interesting is that this piece isn't connected to this piece whatsoever. This is probably going to be one of those frustrating puzzles. Purely because it seems like it shouldn't be that hard. Like literally that one could almost, I don't know, I feel like it's so loosely connected by just being on there that it should be a simple fix, if you like, to get it off. And these little gaps are interesting. Why are those little gaps? There's one there, and there's one there, and there's one there. Now they're not big enough for any part of the other pieces to go through. Apart from, actually, this bit here. That bit's very, very thin, and those bits probably could slide over there. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but that's not quite the right angle to slide over here with this piece. Time for a bit of trial and error of just seeing what fits where and what moves where, and seeing if we can make progress just with a bit of random sort of playing around. Hey, so we've got this piece was on here, and we've managed to get it onto this piece here, which feels like the first step, although that is quite an easy move to do. It just goes over there. Either way, we will try and progress from here. I'm trying to keep my bearings the whole time, but it's quite hard to do with 3 pieces all moving individually. I'm pretty sure I can get back to where I was, but if I make progress from here, I'm not exactly sure where it'll come from. These 2 holes have got to be for something. It obviously looks a little bit like it's shaped like that, but is it? Are these holes used to get this out of the way? Or maybe this one, because that's the bigger 2 of the holes? Or do those holes not matter whatsoever? Who knows? This bit here seems to be the bit that moves best. With these 2 sort of being locked together twice, in here and in here, this one's much more free to move. how these two pieces, so thinking about now, I'm trying to get to a point where I'm thinking, right, how do these separate in the end? Not right now, but how do they separate in the end? And I'm thinking that this bit here essentially spins around this way here. The gap that you can see here, that must go around essentially in that position without that in the way, and that must just spin from here all the way around and unloop itself from there. So that's how those two pieces separate. But how do we get this piece either out of the way or separated before that happens? That is a question I would like to get answered. Now we've figured out why there's a gap here and what that's going to be used for, but I've not really figured out why there's two gaps here. I know why there is actually, it's to separate all the puzzle, but I'm not sure where they're used. Because the only thing that it seems to be able to go over these two gaps is this thin ridge here. But it doesn't seem like we can get to that point there with either of those gaps yet being able to separate. I'm not sure how that one will ever go. I focused a lot of my attention on this piece being here, mainly because it didn't start there and it just feels like that's the right progression. But maybe it's not. Maybe there's a move from this original position, or sort of original position, that we need to do first or instead of. So we'll have a little bit of a play around it here. Ooh, tell you what, man, can we do that? We are super close here to getting this piece around there. But I feel like I'm not quite in the right position for that to happen yet. Oh, man, this feels close. If this wasn't in the way, then I would be able to get that bit on there. Now, getting that bit on there, I don't know whether that's good, but it'd be different. That wouldn't be a bad thing. It's very hard to track where each piece is and where each piece is connected to. Because at the minute I've managed to get this piece now connected by 2. Oops, and now it's not. And now it's back to where it was. I want to spend a little bit more time where I was then, so where was that? Was that just there? I think it was just there. Is there, I can't quite line up that gap just in there with this bit here. Oh, it's so close though. This bit's just in the way still. Oh, but I can. Oh, what? But I can get that bit, or this bit around there. Now where am I here? So I am where I was at the start, and I can just go around there and into there. Jesus, why is it taking me so long to figure that out? So now I've got that piece in there. Now that feels like a better progression, but now it feels a lot more tangled. Ooh, that going through there felt very nice. I can now go around there and put that bit completely inside there. And then can I separate this bit completely now? I can't, but I can go into there. Is that good? What does that achieve going into there? This is where those pieces started, and they're connected twice. So they're connected through there and through there. But when I put it into there, they're only connected once around this piece here. Whoa, we're onto something. We've made good progress in the last 5 minutes. So how do we separate all 3 pieces now? I feel like we need to swap these 2 pieces around. So does that piece, can we get that piece, can we get this piece through here? We've sort of got this piece and this piece half through each, half through itself. I think where I just was might have been where I need to go, but getting either back to here or to here is making it a little bit easier to comprehend where I need to be. So again, going through there connects us back up twice. So that needs to be on there. Now I was trying to swap that bit and that bit around, because I then think that I could get this piece just to slide off there. That's my theory. So right, so let's reattempt to do that, which is to swap this piece and this piece over. So we've got these bits crossed. My aim was to get this bit to this side, and we've sort of got halfway there. How do we get the rest of it through? Oh man. Come on. I'm almost certain that I have to swap these 2 things over. I just can't seem to find the right place or position to do it from. Let's go. I'm trying to see if I can go backwards to go forwards, if that makes sense. But I can't seem to get this piece back over there. Did that? Definitely came from there, I think. So there, we're not quite where we were before, because I put that through the middle of there and then came around. What does that mean? Does that mean we can... My aim is still to get that one on this side of this one. But coming through from that position instead, has that helped us? That does feel too good to not go through there. Ah man, still trying to swap that one to this side. Don't ask me why, I just feel that that is the right thing to do. I can't quite find a position where it happens comfortably. And this movement here just seems too good to be true as well, or too good to not be right, sorry. So it's like it says on the box, the pieces should just slide apart. Now to me, that is just sliding apart. But it can go either side, I'm pretty sure. I've tried both sides. So, right, I've got us back to where we started. I don't know why that'll help, but it's almost just a practice for getting here. So I can get back to where we were, not easily, but I can do it. So now, what if before we go around to here, what if we try and swap these two pieces over here? Is that possible? It does not seem so. Oh yes, we've swapped them over, so that's what I wanted. Now can I then slide these pieces off? So we go through there and that comes over. I think this is it. Is it? Yes. Is it? No. Is it? Right. That is as separated as it has been. Can I just go... Oh, can I go this way? Yes! Yes, 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 yes! That is that bit separated. And then... How does this bit come off? There we are. Oh, wait, does it come off? How does that come off? I hate this bit. I'm all excited because I think I've done it, but on the other hand, I've not done it because, well, obvious reasons. Surely this should be easy. I apologise if this bit is easy and I'm just having a brain fart. Is there a twist I'm missing? What am I missing here? I don't understand. Why is it? How do I do this? Not sure whether that should happen or not. Oh wait, I think it should. Should it? Yes, it should. Oh, there we go. The Enigma puzzle disassembled. Well, it lives up to its name in the Enigma. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. However, I do think that putting it back together is actually going to be not easy, but I think 10 minutes is probably a reasonable aim to put that back together. I think I can remember most of the big steps. So we will see how we get on with reassembling it now. Right, here we go. And there we go. That is actually bang on 10 minutes to reassemble that. Whew, very happy with that overall. That is a good, fun puzzle. So there we go. We managed to solve the Enigma puzzle. We managed to put it back together relatively quickly. All around, that was genuinely a really enjoyable puzzle to do. Partly because it was quite clear that it was going to be a sequence of movements and sort of working your way around and getting to this bit and then to that bit and then to that bit. What I really enjoyed is that you could see every bit. There were no hidden pins keeping something together. There was no special move that needed to do that you couldn't really figure out. It was all in front of you, the gaps were all there, the spaces were all there, and yeah, just figuring out how to progress through getting it apart logically was genuinely really enjoyable. I think in total it took around an hour and a half, an hour 40 minutes to take it apart, and it took almost bang on 10 minutes to put it back together. The putting it back together was relatively straightforward because of just learning how the puzzle worked and making sure when I got to each part or sort of got to each stage of solving the puzzle, I remembered what it looked like, I remembered what position they were in, or generally speaking remembered sort of what happened to get to each part. There was a few times where I sort of had to go, or didn't have to go, but I went right back to the start and sort of just went through the movements and essentially almost practiced taking it apart practiced putting it back together while I was taking it apart. It probably made the process of taking it apart a lot longer than it could have been or needed to be, but I enjoy understanding why it works and how it works and almost appreciating the level of mastery that goes into creating these sorts of puzzles. So all in all, a genuinely really enjoyable puzzle, probably up there in terms of top 3 in terms of enjoyable puzzles. If you don't have this one already, or you've not got it, or you want a good puzzle to solve for yourself, I would highly recommend this one. So where does it rank? Where does it rank on our easiest Hanayama puzzle to our hardest Hanayama puzzle scale? Now, level 6 always going to be top end, or not always because we've got a level 6 down the bottom. But this is definitely up the top end. We're going to start at the top and work our way down in terms of comparing it. Right, is it harder than that one? Is it harder than this one? Is it easier than this one? So we'll start with the hourglass. That is the current number 1 here. It's not harder than the hourglass. The hourglass is still the king of the puzzles that we have done so far. Is it harder than the vortex? Probably not. It's similar in terms of there's 3 parts and there's a sequence of moves to go through, but the vortex isn't quite as obvious in terms of where the gaps are, where the spaces are, and the routine that you have to go through to solve it. So it's not quite as hard as the vortex. Third at the minute is the quartet. Now, it's similar to the quartet. What did get me with the Enigma puzzle, as you saw, was once I'd separated the first bit and I just had 2 bits left, it took me about 5 or 10 minutes to then get those 2 bits apart. As soon as I took that first bit off, I was like, right, brilliant, done. There'll be an easy move to get these 2 pieces apart. But I didn't quite get it. I didn't quite get it straight away. It was, yeah, a good 5-10 minutes before I figured out that there was a sort of a crossover. And that bit was quite stiff. I did not think that it would be that stiff, bearing in mind what it said on the box about each piece sort of gliding smoothly past each other. That bit does not conform to what it says on the box. Whereas if you compare that to the quartet, once you'd sort of separated one piece, all the other 3 pieces almost all fell apart. On the other hand, the quartet was much harder to put back together, so I don't think it's quite as hard as the quartet. I think the quartet is harder than the Enigma. The next one is the level 5 Equa puzzle. I think the Equa is easier. And I can't justify why in words, but I think we have a new 4th place, or 4th hardest puzzle that we have done. The Enigma is it gonna sit? Yes, it's gonna sit in 4th place behind the quartet and in front of the Equa puzzle. So there we go, an ever more cramped desk of puzzles. I think that almost genuinely is the last one that's going to fit on here. I'm going to have to get some shelves of some sort and start putting them up here instead. And that is it. Thank you very much for being here. If you enjoyed the Enigma puzzle, if you've solved the Enigma puzzle for yourself, please let me know what you think of it and what you think about it in terms of my rating, whether that is based on puzzles that you've solved or just from watching me solve them. And if you want to see me solve some more of those puzzles, then you can click my face here. You can also see the step-by-step solutions to those. There's some videos just over there for you to check out, and I will see you next time. Peace!